Today on Skype in the Classroom, we're talking all about the fusion of dance, fashion, and technology. We'll meet Miral, founder of Illuminate, a dance crew whose code-powered light suits wowed the judges on America's Got Talent. We'll also hear from Maxey, a coder on the forefront of wearable technology. She'll tell us how tech is shaping the fashion trends of tomorrow. Let's get creative.
Hello from Egypt.
Hello from Vietnam.
Hello from India.
Hello from Indiana in the United States.
Hello from Nigeria.
Hola from Puerto Rico.
Hi from Greece.
Hello from Canada.
Hello from the Microsoft campus in Redmond, Washington, and welcome to Skype in the Classroom. Some of you may have learned to write code, play with code, and make things with code. This series is about opening your mind to the possibilities of what you can do with those skills by introducing you to some amazing code creators. I'm Donna Sarkar, and together we'll take a journey to meet creators combining their creativity and tech skills to make some amazing things. I really love today's topic so much of tech, dance, and fashion because apart from being a coder, I'm also a fashion designer. A few years ago, I went to fashion school during evenings and weekends, and I used holograms to make my fashion line. I'll share a lot more about that later, but first, let's introduce our first code creator. Miral is the founder of the dance crew Illuminate. She's going to join us in just a moment, but before she does, let's check out this video produced by Great Big Story to see how she uses code to create light suits for her dancers.
People who are not in STEM and kind of have an outside look at software development sometimes don't understand how truly creative it is. Reading lines of code is like reading poetry. It's an art form in itself, and it's a culture of really bringing ideas to light. I started coding when I was 9 years old, and I've been dancing since I think I was able to walk. My father is a dancer, so it was in my blood. So there's one A where Mateo's on his own? Mm-hmm. So I had a plan in life, I had a direction, I was going to be a professional dancer, everything was lined up. And then I got cancer. It changed the whole path of my life. While I was in recovery, I'm not really good at sitting still, so I was writing software from the hospital bed. I've gotten almost obsessed, like it was something that just kept me going. And when I came back home, I wanted to dance again. I was in the midst of trying to find ways to mix dance and technology, and that's when I came up with the idea of the light suits and wirelessly programming them to make really amazing visual art. All right, I'm gonna stop at this cue when it starts. Let's just see if this is right before they dance. Over there. We were up hours and hours and hours writing the software and trying different things, and it was just a lot of fun. The end product is as simple as me pressing one button and the lights turn on, and another button and they change color, and a few buttons and a sequence happens. We were performing in public spaces, and the more positive reactions we got, the more confident I was to just go for it. And just a few months after that, we were on America's Got Talent, and the rest is kind of history.
It's groundbreaking what you do. It's incredible. You create everything from zero, and it's just brilliant.
We've worked with Chris Brown, Death Cab for Cutie, Christina Aguilera, Black Eyed Peas. Then we also had our own show that has been in the heart of Broadway for several years and is touring both nationally and internationally. It can go on and on. The future for Illuminate is definitely education. I want to be able to have students from different backgrounds work and collaborate together, because if you learn how to respect people who do something different than you and have them respect you back, that kind of skill set will really take you farther in life.
We're joined now by the brilliant and effervescent Miral. Hi, Miral. How are you?
Good. How are you, Donna?
Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
It is so amazing to meet someone who I've been following for almost 10 years doing such extraordinary things. So I loved what you said in the video about coding being like poetry. And I've never heard that before. Can you share a little bit more with the students about what you mean by that?
Of course. So coding is a language that you give to the computer. And once that computer reads that language, it creates something for you. And just like you may have friends who speak a different language than you, whether it's Spanish or French or Swahili, there are different coding languages that you can use. And once you put different words together in that language, create sentences. And then when other software developers read your code, when they want to understand it, it's like they're reading your own poetry. They're reading what you've created to solve that particular problem. So I really see code as an artistic endeavor.
I love that. So I've been following iLuminate for almost 10 years now, but I'm sure the students would love to hear. Can you tell us a little bit more about how just this amazing idea originated?
Of course. So I've been writing lines of code since I think I was 9. I think it's when, I'm a bit older. So it was when my parents got the first desktop, when it was quite new to have a desktop, and I was fascinated. And I have a dance background. I think since I was maybe born, I was moving. I couldn't sit still. And my parents put me in dance classes at the age of 5, and I loved it. But I never put the two together. And for years, I kept it separate. So when I went to college, I actually studied computer science at Columbia University, but I decided I also wanted to dance. So I was in New York City dancing and taking classes and trying to get into the dance scene professionally. And then I graduated college, and I had planned to pay off all my student loans and then pursue dancing professionally. So the next step, of course, check out with the doctor that you're okay. And it ended up that I had cancer. And when I got diagnosed, I had to have a surgery to remove the tumor right away. So after the surgery and the radiation, I couldn't walk anymore. I had no muscle movement in my right hip. Quite scary. So the long and short of it is, the dream of being a professional dancer kind of had to go a different route. And so I worked as a software developer and really honed in on my skills and fell in love with software and code even more. I was hooked. And then I started writing iPhone apps. And I went to an Apple developers conference to see what I could learn about iPhone apps, because I wanted to write my own apps, not just work for other companies who were creating apps. And they were talking about how small wireless chips were and how you can use your iPhone to communicate wirelessly with different devices. And I thought, well, what could I do with this technology with dancing? Because I always kind of kept them separate. But what if I could find a way to put my two loves together? So I thought quite a bit about it. And what I thought was, how do I make dance more accessible to non-dancers?
Right.
And so the idea was put lights on the body and make them wirelessly controlled from a central unit. And so you could create these amazing magic shows of dance where the dancers were doing certain things and a head could fall off, an arm could stretch, and just really have really cool lighting effects where people disappear and reappear, and it goes to the music. And so I went for it. About 2 years of R&D, no sleep, a lot of my money going into the project, but I was able to successfully create a prototype, and from there it just took off.
I love how you said, the dream of dancing didn't end, it went in a new direction.
Absolutely.
And because you had this background in dancing and you applied technology to it, you were able to create something that's never existed. I love that you talked about this. We've been sharing with the students some of this, where once you combine tech and creativity together, you wind up creating things that have never existed, that have absolutely never existed. It's so cool.
For sure.
So what was the actual building process like of, you're at the prototype phase, then you've managed to, believe in your idea. What were the actual steps like to build one of these light suits?
Exciting.
Yeah.
Hard.
Yeah.
So when you're doing a startup, sometimes you have to be very creative with what you do with the resources that you have,
right? Which
is actually quite telling of an engineering mindset, because you always have to solve problems with certain constraints. So I did not have anybody who had a background in fashion design or wardrobe, but I knew that the one big important step was how do you make it look good?
Mhm.
And then also safety, because you're putting electronics on a dancer,
Right.
battery operated electronics with wireless control, and the lights themselves take quite a bit of engineering to turn on in a way that is visible to the audience and safe to the dancer. So we spent quite a bit of time in the lab creating our own circuitry so that it delivered what we wanted to, as well as it kept being not get too warm so the dancers wouldn't get too hot with the device on. It wouldn't smoke on the dancers because it was smoking sometimes in the lab, and it would have its little quirky moments, a little shock here or there. So a lot of the beginning of building it was still in that engineering mindset, and then taking that engineering mindset and trying to make it look cool.
Yeah.
And then also working with dancers to see how they can move with these light suits and what interesting movement we could come up with. So the steps were definitely, the code started it all. Once you had a solid code base and you had solid engineering and hardware, then you went into the testing phase, which is when we would put light suits together, really basic light suits, but just to test the concept to see, will this look cool? And then once we got that working, then we worked on a language so that we could write effects onto the dancers that would look cool and be synced to the music and be accurate with timing, so that the choreography, the dancing, and the music were meshed like one, rather than all these separate pieces that were put one on top of the other. It was really something that had to come together. So every single component of the performance is important. One cannot live without the other.
I think it's so powerful to realize that it's not a matter of like which is more important, the dance or the fashion or the technology. It's the story, of course, and then all of these things come together to create that magic that we all see on stage.
Sure.
Cool.
Yes.
So when you want to choreograph a new dance, how do you start? What does the process look like?
Well, first we like to find music. I think myself and our choreographers are very inspired by music, because as you can see our shows, it's so much about what the dancer feels. So first we find music, and then we want to figure out, what are we trying to say? What kind of characters do we want to create? Is it a story? Is it just a fun dance that just has lots of effects and tumbling and is a wow show? Or are we trying to say something with the dancing? And then once we've made that decision, then our wardrobe and technical team starts to create the costumes off of sketches that will look and embody what we're trying to create. And the choreographer will work with the dancers to create movement that matches the music and what the light suits will look like. And then the exciting part is when everybody separately has finished their part and we bring it all together. And that's when the dancers get put into light suits. And I sit with the choreographer, look at the choreography and figure out what lighting effects would really make the dance pop. And I write the cues. I'm in front of my computer, the dancers are doing their thing, and we see, does this work? Does that work? That didn't look quite right. Or oftentimes a mistake will happen and we'll be like, oh, that was actually really awesome. We should keep it. And, you just keep playing. And by the end, you have this piece that we all came together to create. And it's, as I said, again, it's a collaboration of such unique and very driven minds coming together with mutual respect for what we all do, so that we can create something beautiful together that we could not have done on our own.
I love that, especially, the mistake that turned out to be awesome. It's like a bug that became a feature.
Oh my gosh.
It happens a lot.
We have so many features.
Yeah, because you can't plan everything. Oftentimes, like, this worked out pretty well.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
exactly.
you've talked a lot about your team and how there's so many different kinds of people and how you work together. What do you think is the secret to your team's success? Because you obviously work together incredibly well.
Passion, inspiration, and autonomy. I think autonomy is a unique word. What that essentially means is I give people the freedom to be themselves. I don't look over their shoulders and check on everything they do, because I try to bring people together who are self-motivated and really have visions that they want to bring to life as well. So they're not coming at it as a job or, I just have to get this and that done and I'm good, but they really bring their heart and soul into it and are self-motivated to make sure that what comes from their side is at the same level of professionalism and accuracy that the other people in the team bring. So we're definitely balancing each other and challenging each other.
It's so amazing hearing about this journey. It's getting this behind the scenes look too at how you think about your work, not just at the beginning, but right now. Your work is incredibly inspiring. I'm sure all of the students around the world are equally in awe. We've got a few questions they'd like to ask you.
Hey, love it. Yes.
So
please.
here is our first student question.
Hi, my name is Diego, and I live in Indianapolis, Indiana, and I'm a fifth grader here in the United States in Allisonville. And my question is, do you ever worry about things going wrong during a performance or not?
Oh, no, never. Perfect.
Of course not.
Oh, man. We call them Miral bugs. Everybody has a
Miral
bug.
bugs.
Sometimes it's a Miral feature. But one time, again, when we were starting out, when we didn't have the biggest budgets, I had a role in this show, but I was also writing the cues, and this was our off-Broadway show. I wanted to balance out all the lighting effects, and so I started writing functions, which are very important in coding, and it's quite important for you to have your code readable by others. So you want to break things into easy to manage functions. So I took what I'd written and looked for anything that was repetitive, and I would create functions for it. So I wrote a function to fade out one of the dancers. She was one of the girls in the show, and we didn't really have time to test everything I did because it was quite busy and very understaffed.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm on stage doing my thing, and the dancer finishes. It's the end of scene. It's supposed to go black so that the next scene can begin. We don't really do exits because we don't need to since the lights just turn off. So she just never turns off. So it turned out that my fade function actually faded her on, not off.
Oh.
So every time she was supposed to turn off, she would actually just return on.
Return on.
So that was interesting. And one of our dancers found a black blanket, but it was translucent. So he went and tried to put a blanket on her. And so then she was just like this illuminating blob, and she kind of just like
she's like this light ghost.
Yeah, she's this light ghost, an army crawling off stage. I ran to the backstage area, fixed that function, recompiled the code, sent it to production, which you should never do again.
Mm-hmm.
Never do this. But I sent it out to production and it fixed it. But whew, you'd think I would have learned from that. But
yeah,
sometimes little Miral features come up here and there when we don't have time to test. But I would say that was one of the most memorable ones.
That's hilarious. That's the kind of thing that I would do all the time. Like, oh, I'm sure this is going to work fine with no test needed.
Of course. It's just zeros and ones. It was literally was a 0 versus a 1.
Oh my gosh. That is funny.
So test your code. That's
test your code. Oh my gosh, test your code. And now we have another question from a student joining us.
Hi, I'm Amy from Wales, and I am in Year 6. My question is, how did the computers tell the suits what to do?
Wow, that is a really good question. Thank you. It does it with magic, of course.
Obviously.
But it's over Wi-Fi. So when you have your phone on and you have a wireless signal, sometimes you'll join a network because your cell phone signal isn't strong enough. When you're at home, you join a network. So we have what we call our own network. And we use what's called 802.11 protocol, which is essentially the same thing as when you use your at-home network or when you're at a coffee shop joining a network. And through that wireless protocol, we're able to send information to each light suit individually to tell it what to do. So there's a master computer that tells the light suits what to do.
And now let's have one more student question.
Hi, I'm Navya. I'm from Vishwa Vidyapeeth, Bangalore, India. Can I build my own light suit?
Wow, another really good question. Please do so and let us see it. The steps are quite fun. First, you want to come up with your design, and then you can work with your friends and your family to make that design come to life. And then once you've done that, you can work with these small circuit boards, such as Arduino boards. You could use a wireless chip of your own to light up the suit and use the same type of circuitry to turn the lights on. And then you can use off-the-shelf protocols to send something to the suits to say turn on or turn off. So it's a lot of fun because it includes hands-on work, a lot of coding, And working with friends, which I think is another important aspect, is do it with your friends. Do it with your parents or your family, because it's everybody brings something new to the table, and it's important to learn how to work with others and not try to do things on your own. So when you start building your own light suit and writing your own lighting code, bring your friends along. It'll be that much more fun. And once you guys have the hang of it, start creating your own little moments and dances and share your ideas and see what each of you come up with as well. So do something together and then do a few things separately and share them.
I am definitely going to make my own light suit because I have an Arduino board in my house. So I can actually do it. I'm going to do it, and I'll make my team do it too.
Perfect. You have to send me the video.
I definitely will. And we have one more student question.
Good day. My name is Ayla Bamewodini. I'm a student of City of Knowledge Academy, and I'm in grade 11. I'm also from Nigeria. My question is, how do you find courage to try new things?
Man, these questions are tough.
Mm-hmm.
How do you have a courage? That's a good question. I don't think you have time to think about the courage. One of the things that I've learned in life is you just have to go for it, because if you start to think about it too much, you will out-psych yourself, and the nervousness, the questions, and the fear of failing, and these types of things will just take over. So there's no time to look back. There's no time to question it and to think, what if? You just have to just go for it, can commit to it, and there's no other option but to go for it. And that's where the courage comes, is because you won't allow any of that doubt into your heart. You just allow the courage to take over, and you just go.
You just have to do the thing.
You just got to go.
Love it. So before we let Miral go, I would love to know if you have any piece of advice you'd like to leave our students with.
Any piece of advice? Have fun. Just have fun, because there's a lot of things in life that will challenge you. And if you look at these challenges in a way where it discourages you, then it will keep bringing you down. But if you allow these challenges to inspire you to do better and be better, then it will help you in all aspects of life. So whenever you're doing things, just find the fun in it. Find the fun in the challenges. Find the fun in the mistakes. Find the way to take those mistakes and learn from them and do something that's so far beyond what you would have done if you didn't make that mistake. Just have fun.
Enjoy the bugs.
Enjoy it.
I love it.
Exactly. Because you know what? Those are the stories. We still laugh about it till today, the bugs. Those are the stories you will tell your friends, your family, your children, your parents for years to come.
Absolutely. The best stories start with fiasco, right?
Exactly.
So true. That's a lot of really great advice, Miral. Thank you so much for being here with us.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Now, we're going to hear from a woman who's lighting up the fashion industry with innovative wearable technology. She was once a student just like you, but she learned to code, and now she's on the forefront of fashion and wearable tech. Her name is Maxey. She is one of the founders of Lumia. Maddie's joining us via Skype to share a few thoughts on the fusion of fashion and technology.
Thanks, Donna. Hi, my name is Maxey, and I'm Chief Innovation Officer here at Lumia. At Lumia, I love to work with lots of different things, but one of my favorite tools is the sewing machine, which you can see over here. I also love working with the soldering iron, which you can see over here. A soldering iron is used to put together electronics. So here at Lumia, we put together electronics and textiles in order to make textiles do more. Textiles are used in your clothing, so it's all sorts of fabric, like this fabric. And our goal is to make that fabric smart. So we want that fabric to be able to heat you up when you're cold. It can do things like light you up to be safe when you're outside and it's dark. It can do things like change colors, or maybe give you a little nudge on the shoulder to tell you which direction to turn. In order to make that possible, we have to work with a lot of different kinds of technology. And one of the technologies that we use is code. Code tells electronics what to do. So we write a different kind of code than the code that you use to make a website. We write code that you use to instruct electronics. And part of why I'm interested in coding and why I learned as much as I could is because code allows you to do more in the physical world. It allows you to make things that move and think, but things that you can also hold. It doesn't just mean making a website. So I wish you all the best of luck, and thank you for letting me join you in your classroom experience.
Thank you, Maddie. It's amazing to think about how technology is totally changing a decades-old industry like fashion. I've been a software engineer for 15 years. A few years ago, I was itching to create with my hands. I've always been interested in fashion, so I enrolled myself in fashion school part-time without even knowing how to sew. Thankfully, my engineering skills kicked in, and I quickly started to understand 3D visualizations, how things fit together, how to measure accurately, and stuff like that. Soon, I was able to create clothes that are similar to the ones in my closet, after which I started designing my own garments, such as this one. My fashion line will be called Prima Donna and will be releasing really soon. It was my knowledge of coding that helped me realize this passion for fashion. All right, you know what it's time for. It's selfie time. Teachers, please gather your students around the screen, and we're going to take a selfie with Miral and her light jacket. We'll give you a few minutes to set up. All right, it's selfie time. 1, 2, 3. Wow, that's awesome. Students, selfie time. So fun. Miral, thank you so much for being here with us. That is awesome. The best selfie ever, I think.
Thank you so much for having me again. This is
Of course.
so much fun.
All this episode, we've been sharing what's possible when you learn to code. So dive in and try it out. If you haven't done so, do the Hour of Code. It's an easy and fun way to get started. Go to kotb.org/learn and find hundreds of different lessons on the basics of computer coding, like loops, functions, and if statements. If you've enjoyed this episode of Meet Code Creators, there are 4 more you can view. You can hear from 2 developers from Minecraft about game development, learn about how computer science brought illustrations from a Harry Potter book to life, explore how technology is used to animate movies like Coco, The Incredibles 2, and discover how artificial intelligence is helping make the world better. And for all of you educators watching, you can find more guest speakers and go on virtual field trips with your class any time of the year through Skype in the Classroom. Thank you for joining us. On behalf of Skype in the Classroom, Code.org, we wish all of you future code creators the very best as you bring your ideas to life.